Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where I was just looking at our position here. Now I've just motorized this hub, which will reach out over this way in some ways. But you can see here I've queued up an additional hub in Nova Scotia and Krasnodar, so we'll get to those in a moment. But I want to get an additional hub here, and then I think one here as well. So let's get some of that constructing. That will of course take some time. So we'll get this looped into our supply network. Something kind of like that should be fine. Okay, so that'll boost things down here significantly. But I also want to move around some other things here. So we've got Army Group 7 here. And my question is, let's see, there's 2 units not assigned here. Those 2 are assigned up over on that side. So this is the army group that I want to delete the order from. So we want to get rid of the Army Group 7 order. And now all of these units, they're going to take this front. Now, we're going to overload our supplies over here. Definitely. There's no doubt about that. But these guys are pushing down this way, and I want to delete this offensive line here because we really could use a different one. Our offensive line here is right there, and now I'd kind of like this to be out over here and just kind of unifying this front, right? So we'll go ahead and start pushing that, but it's going to take some time to get forces over there. That's all understood. Up over this direction, I've added a supply hub here, and that will help supply this army pushing into Halifax, but for the moment, I'm not terribly concerned about that. And then we've got this region out over here. Now, I put in a supply hub right up here next to the one in Krasnodar because we don't hold Krasnodar, and that's not ideal, for sure. Our supplies out over here are not fantastic, but we do have supply hubs on the way in. Now, this hub was built. We should get that definitely motorized. And the supply hub in Moscow can be motorized. This one can be motorized. This one can be motorized, as can this and this. And this is going to help our supplies very dramatically out in this area. Now, I'm wondering, what's up with this? Why do we not have a connection here? It feels like we should, right? Maybe this just hasn't updated yet. Because that connects up to the hub in Moscow, which definitely connects into our main supply trunks. So that's absolutely fine there in theory. So we want to take this hub here, and we want to motorize it. It will get connected. Down over this way, there's a hub here in Kyiv that will also get connected. So that's great. And then there's one in Poltava that should also get connected. But I do want to get a rail connection right here, make sure that that's fully upgraded, and then that gets into our main trunk out over here. So that seems fine. This can get upgraded. That's okay as well. Supplies down over here are a bit on the tight side. I'm going to start building a hub here. And then we're going to run a line that goes kind of like this. And I'd like to build a naval base here. Okay, so something kind of like that. We don't want to lose this little dividing line here because that would be problematic for us. So these guys out over here, they don't have a ton of supply right now. And for the moment, we're mostly just going to have to wait a little bit out on this front because we need supplies. That's very, very clear. Our supply situation is not the best. So out over this direction, how are our supplies looking down here? Well, this needs to get connected in, and it's actually pretty close. And then these need to come online. Once that happens, we'll be in a much better situation. Hello. There's a hub right here. We can't motorize it at this time, but we can just run a line like this and connect that right on in. That would be great. I'd also like to get a hub somewhere around here or so. And we'll connect that into our main rail line as well. And then we've got this guy right here, which is apparently not motorized. Cool. We'll just do something kind of like that. Okay, so our forces are doing a lot of losing at this moment. And this is primarily due to lack of supply lines. This is bad. Right here. This is very bad. We have no troops up here.
Hey, come out.
They're going to pocket this area. We really want to prevent this from happening. Who is on the way over here? Okay, they're a long ways away. We need to move these guys northward, like this. And we need to get these guys over here. Okay, they're attacking here? I assume they were going here. This is better. That's really, really good. Okay. Disaster averted. So that's fantastic for us. We have Maycop at this moment, and I'd like these guys to walk in over here. And then these guys can start pushing in this direction a little bit. Just clear this up, shorten this front line. I'm noting they don't have many supplies over here at this moment. So that's definitely a good thing, but we need to do something about this situation over here. No doubt about that. So we're going to move in over this way, and that's fine. Wait, Krasnodar is currently undefended. Get in here. Take this. If that's the case, then we can theoretically cancel this building. Which we'll do. Unfortunately, our troops out over here are not very oriented, right? But they're getting there. So that seems somewhat better. This connection out over here, we really don't want them to take this. But we have forces on the way over, and they don't appear to be heading in. But they did push us back over here. So this is unpocketed at this point. That's understood. And they're just continuing to push in over here because we're just not defending this area. We need to pull back. As soon as this is over, Chile is calling all these guys in. Pull back. Get out of here. Not necessarily yet, actually. But we need to pull back from this area for right now. Yeah, we just weren't defending this area. So we need to assist this attack and see if we can pull these guys out of here. But this is very bad over here. We just aren't defending this area. That's all there is to it. So we need to get that dealt with. This is a small pocket here, but it looks like there's not actually anything in that pocket. So that's understood. We did not take Krasnodar. Okay, so that's dealt with. We need to get our forces to, you know, actually be in position for once in their lives. That would be nice. But alas, they don't seem interested. So for now, this front is actually fairly defended-ish. There's a few spots here and there that aren't. But what we really need to do here, I think, is pinch here and get this pocketed. And then from there, these guys, they're probably just gone. Probably just gone. We can try and attack here. We'll see how it goes. They're reinforcing the area. And we're struggling here. Keep attacking. No, keep attacking. Okay. So we're definitely struggling here. These guys are probably gone. I want to check in on the status of supplies up over here. Okay, it's not too bad in this area. But the really bad thing here is that we just weren't able to get this pocket under control in time. The collapse of the Soviet Union, again, definitely cost them some units, but it's kind of rough. These guys are unassigned. Oh, they finished this up. Okay, perfect. So they can come down here and join this now. So it's going to take them time to get there, and that's understood. So that's all underway. That seems fine. Now, out over here, we've got these guys still attacking down over here. This is pocketed. Get in here and finish this. So that seems reasonably fine. This front out over here is going okay. I'm not going to call it fantastic. These guys appear to have forgotten their attack order. So that's noted. I'm going to have them simply offensive line to here, which is not quite the same offensive line as what we have here, but it's a similar sort of offensive line. Now, we do have these divisions here. So we've got some military districts here. I want to move them into these armies. Perhaps this one for now. That one's very, very weak. And then we've got these modern tank brigades. That can go here. And then we've got these random divisions. These aren't things that we made. We might just toss them into random areas. We could toss one of them over here. And then the other two, we could just try to fill out some of these armies. Something kind of like that. Now, I did increase our recruitment, and that went up to 16, or rather 18 and 12. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to bring this up to 27 and 18. There we go. So we're increasing our recruitment more. That'll be fine for now. This is still bad over here, don't get me wrong. And I'm wondering about our front lines here. Okay, yeah. We could definitely use pulling back this front line a little bit to specifically here. And then I'm going to delete this offensive line, and we're going to change the offensive line here to be this. I want to do that. So we'll work on positioning here. That'll be fine. And as far as supplies out here go, this is 1 day until this railway connection is converted. Okay, sure. But the real question is, when are these supply depots going to be built, right? So we have Kharkov out over here. That's going to have a connection very shortly. This did not actually go up to, there we go, something like that. So we've got decent supplies in a lot of these areas. This out over here doesn't have decent supplies. We should definitely think about getting some rail upgrades over here. I want to upgrade this rail line over here until this goes into our main trunk, which is right here. So that seems good. And of course, we apparently have a pocket here. Let's go ahead and eliminate that. So we'll continue to work on that one, and we're just waiting on the supply hub to actually get a connection to the capital. For now, that seems relatively okay. We're waiting on the same in Kharkov, and that will help matters significantly out over here once it does get a supply connection. It just doesn't yet. It doesn't have it. So out over this direction, we want to be pushing in over here, but supplies are the main issue at this time. And you can see these hubs, some of them are going to finish pretty soon. About 10 days for one of them. So that seems good. I wonder if these guys can break out. We'd have to take here. I'm afraid I don't really see that happening. So for the time being, we're just going to leave them. Maybe we'll be able to rescue them at a certain point, but that point may not be now. So for now, we're going to do something like this and have this army group press in here. This army group pressing in here, this one pressing here, and our African army group appears to not really be very interested in attacking out over here. I mean, we can work on a little supplies out over this way, but I don't think this is a big issue. So that's fine. We can definitely get better supplies out over here by doing something like that. That is substantially better supplies out over this way. So we're going to continue to attack down here. That seems fine. And the real question is, can we pinch this off again? If we can pinch right here, that's huge. If we can take Rostov, that's even bigger. Okay, we're definitely making some progress out over this way. I'm wondering... Yeah, we have a unit heading in here right now. Cool. So that looks good for now. They're trying to push us back this way, but for the moment, I think we've got that reasonably under control. Potentially a dangerous situation here, specifically with these guys. Supply out over here is pretty okay. So for the moment, I'm not terribly concerned about it. They'll replenish. Supply out over here towards Gamel is a little rough. We'll see what that ends up looking like. Okay, so we're continuing to harass this area out over here. Our primary goal is a pinch-off, and we could potentially achieve that right here. So if we were to have one of these units make their way to here, it'll take them time to get there, and I don't know that they'll actually succeed. but that would be a huge deal. Okay, we got pushed back here. Noted. Oh, look at this. That's huge. That is absolutely enormous that we just walked in there. I didn't order that. That was something that the AI did. That's fantastic. So at this point, I want to choose this army group, the units assigned here, right? And I want to have them simply offensive line like this. So I just want to widen this gap. That's the idea right now. As far as these guys go, their goal is to press in mostly up on this flank, and I would really like to get these 2 units relieved, but for now, we'll see what ends up happening with that. So we're definitely making some progress over here now on this pocket. That's great. We're widening this gap substantially, and that's a huge deal. So if we're able to get this area pocketed as well, that's an even bigger deal. And it looks like it's going to happen. So we just wiped some units here. And those are now going to be redeployed. So we're just... This front is kind of collapsing on their part. So that is absolutely great. I would love to see some attacks going on down here. These 2 might get stack wiped here. Yeah. That's not surprising. We just had no real way to get them out of there. And it's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, we've got lots of manpower. We're still mobilizing up to 10%. We're at 6.3. We have so much manpower. We've been pushed back over on this side, and I assume this is because these guys were ordered to make their way down, and it took them 1 trillion years to get here, and we just left that area undefended. I'm assuming that's what happened there. So as we make our way down over here... Oh, Sweden just capitulated. Okay. We'll look at that in a moment. As we make our way down here, I want to check in on our supply situation. It's not the absolute worst, but it could definitely use more work. But yeah, I'm assuming we just left an area open and they exploited that. That's probably what happened. Like 99%, that's what happened. So they have a unit here. That's understood. This is a full army group up here, isn't it? It is. Okay. So let's see about stack wiping these guys. And then we probably... What is this path? Oh, okay. There are units way down there. Well, that's a little awkward. I don't necessarily want them to take that path. So we'll just get this stack wiped. And the idea here is, at this point, that's now stack wiped. Okay. So they're making some ground over here. So what I want to do is I want to have our main front line be right up over here, right? This is a very small crossing, but that'll be our main front line. Now, I want to grab this army here. They're going to front line over here. No, I want the whole army here. No, I want the whole army, not the whole army group. Hang on. Get rid of that. I want this army to front line here. There we go. And they are going to offensive line to here, like this. Then I want to grab another army that's already over here. So like these guys. They're going to front line against this. And they're just going to attack this. So for now, that seems reasonably good. We'll encircle these little areas, and then we'll get the rest of our forces down over here. So this is going to be, awkward, but it's fine. Okay, so Rostov is now encircled. Attack them, please. Stop them from moving out over here while we're moving. They're trying to break out. We don't want to let that happen. Okay. So we've only got 6 divisions that's going to encircle Rostov here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we definitely need to grab some extra units here. I want to grab this army, so that's going to be this whole army here. That whole army will be assigned to this. And then they are going to be offensive lining here with orders to attack. Okay. There we go. We'll keep them in there. Now, as far as this goes, we're going to just slowly push these back. If we can take Novorossiysk, that's a huge deal. And we're pushing in towards it. So that looks great. As far as this over here goes, we're very, very close to cutting off Crimea. So this is looking good on this front. There is a pocket up over here. And I would absolutely love to take this. Let's have this unit head up over here quick. There we go. So let's get this pocket eliminated. That seems great. Now, as far as all of this over here goes, is there actually anyone in this? I'm not convinced that there is. Oh, there is in here. Okay. Well, we're getting these guys stack wiped. That looks perfect. Okay. This unit now needs to be assigned down to this front line. And that's a little hard to do, but there we go. And I want to have this army group be attacking out over here. So I want their offensive line to simply be like here, right? So we'll just tell them to execute that. And we're probably not going to make our way across here anytime soon. But we're going to need to have some additional supply out over this way. So we'll definitely work on that. And then this is going to be stack wiped in the eventual times, I hope. So that all looks good for now. With Sweden capitulating, with this pocket almost under control, things are looking so much better for us. But we still need to work in a lot of additional territory over here. Now, this supply hub can be motorized up, as can this one and this one, which will dramatically help our supply in these regions. It won't be perfect, but it'll help. We're heavily overstressing this supply hub, and that's definitely noted. We have a good pocket here. That's a lot of units that's in this pocket. And let's just wipe them. They have nowhere to go, and they'll wipe out nice and quick. Perfect. So they're trying to, I think, break out over this way. Actually, we're attacking over here. That seems fine for now. And these guys can now be redirected wherever it is they're trying to go. We're making gains out over this direction. I'm thinking that we can pocket this. Let's just head in over here. We'll see if we get there in time. We did. So now the units that are assigned here, they can just head in and start to stack wipe these units. So that's a great encirclement there. I'm very happy about that. We've got some units out over here that are not assigned to this front, and this is probably too many units over here. No probably about it. This is almost certainly too many units over here. But we'll keep working on that. We'll bring these forces in and continue to relentlessly attack over on this side. So that looks great, and I want to hop over here quick. Oh, look at this. We've made significant gains over here, and we can just work on stack wiping these guys. So that looks fantastic. We've been pushing them back over this direction. Things are a little rough out over this way, and that's because this supply depot isn't done yet. That's understood. Okay, so supplies are definitely doing better.
Come on.
Wipe out this pocket, please. There we go. These guys out over here have a little bit of a bulge here. I would love to send forces like this. I feel like that's a little ambitious to close the pocket like that. We'll see what ends up happening elsewhere. These guys are definitely making solid gains out over here. We're about to take Rostov. Things are looking very good for us at this time. Okay, so that's Rostov falling. That is huge. So these guys are now heading off to this front. Understood, but they shouldn't be. They should be here. Why are they here?
Hey, come on.
This is not where this front is supposed to be. So what units are assigned to this should instead be assigned here.
Hey, come on.
So we need to delete this front. And these units that are not here should instead be here. So I believe that's these three armies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a army group front line right here. That goes all the way up to here, though, and we definitely don't want that. So let's retract that front line all the way to here. And it should be like this. And then they should have an offensive line being literally just this for right now. They can go ahead and attack that, but they need to get into position first. They just left this completely undefended for no reason, which is, you know, exciting. Let's not have another breakout over here. That would be bad. So we're going to get forces in position here, and we're going to get this stopped. We want to push down to the sea over here and get Crimea cut off again. But as of right now, this area over here is a pocket because of these guys. They're still holding out there, and we may actually want to consider building some naval bases there. We'll see if we actually get any of that done. But for now, this seems relatively fine. We'll just continue to work our way through this. They do have this naval base, so they can get supplies here. Actually, Krasnodar is looking very weak. They're sending reinforcements there, but I'm going to assist this attack here. We should be attacking here. Continue this attack. If we could get Krasnodar, that would be a very, very big deal here. But we're just going to continue to grind that down. That seems okay for now. So we need to adjust this front line. This front line is broken again, and it needs to go to here. Okay. So we'll get some forces into position there. That looks okay. As far as all this over here goes, we're actually really close to being able to break through this, but it's not going tremendously well for right now. That's okay for the moment. Down over this direction, these guys are very thoroughly pocketed, and we'll get them nice and stack wiped. Get in here. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue to clean up some of these areas here. This is a pocket. We should definitely attack this, and we'll get that cleaned up soon enough. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.